Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Birth by Sleep critical Terra walkthrough. This is the Dwarf Woodlands, and once again folks, this is going to be broken up into two pieces. It will be the level and the enemies, and then it will be the boss. I do this for the convenience of being able to find it. On today's economic level of YouTube, today's climate of YouTube algorithms, it's not a good idea to have shorter videos, so longer videos are more profitable, but this is the way that I like to do it, and this is the way that I've done it in the past, so... Interesting, I seem to be messing around with the potions. I wonder why I did that. I must have been in a playful mood, who knows. But it's nice to show that you can do that. You can exploit the potions to get some good explosions. And I'm going to be using a lot of status effects here to make sure that these potentially dangerous enemies can't do any danger to me. Mixing in the old normal strikes as well, just to keep the ball rolling, so to speak. The inevitable fat guy turns up. These fat fellas don't look like much, but they can really hurt you, and they get armor as well. So they take big amounts of damage, they deal good damage, and they can be a bit of an... Oh, we've got stop as well. Stop is cool. I like that. I love that too, because when stop speeds up, it transfers all the damage you did, and it's this really nice looking animation. It's pretty damn cool. But we're level 4 now, so Jesus, that boss must have given us a ton of experience. So, that is a mimic chest, so be careful of him. I know, right guys? The Souls games didn't invent mimics, who knew? Which, I hope you're not a person who thinks they did. That would be really sad. There is a plethora of RPGs from a very, very long time ago that have had mimics in them. And this is no different, it seems. So because this is such a long video and I'm not too sure what I'm going to be doing in it, there's probably going to be some tangents in this. And if you're new to my channel, I talk about a lot of things that are not necessarily what's happening on screen. Sometimes what's happening on screen is enough and it talks for itself. Other times I like to kind of elucidate and expand on exactly what's happening. Right now not so much, because we're just killing stuff and running around this area, which can be quite tricky, and the checkpoint here is not graceful either. So if you die here, folks, you have to do everything you did again. So be very careful. But it's a good opportunity to get better at the combat, because you're going to be doing a lot of it. So practice makes perfect, or perfect practice makes perfect? I guess we'll have to find out. But at this moment in time, we're currently a couple of days away from the release of Yakuza 0, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, and Resident Evil 7. And of course, Resident Evil 7 is the biggest game of them all at the moment. It's the one that everybody's chasing, it's the one that everybody's excited for. And like a true YouTube idiot, I'm not covering it. And I'm going to be making a video as to why I'm not covering it, because a lot of people are asking, when's my walkthrough due, and why am I prioritizing this and that, and things of that nature. It stems from the fact, guys, that I am not excited for Resident Evil 7. I don't need Resident Evil 7 in my life. And I probably won't even play it. I don't care, I appreciate you care, and that's awesome. You're going to get a really fun game, and I hope it's great. But to me, I don't like how it looks, and I don't want to play it. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly acceptable with not having Resident Evil 7 in my life. Some people will see that as insanity, and that's fine. But to me, there's so many other games I'd rather play, and that's just not one of them. So I'm going to make a video stating pretty much what I've just said, but going into a bit more detail for everybody to see. And I'm going to be releasing it quite soon, so that I can kind of hopefully alleviate a lot of those questions. Why aren't you covering it? Why are you covering these other things? I'm under no illusion, guys. Covering covering Resident Evil 7 is the smart thing to do, even if I hate it, and even if I don't want to, because it's one of the most searched games at this moment in time. It's just the best business choice, straight up. There's no two ways about it. It doesn't even matter what I do with those videos. I could literally do anything. It would probably be hands down more lucrative than what I will do with Yakuza 0 and Kingdom Hearts 2.8, because they just do not have the same profile. And for some reason, Terra doesn't grab this ledge, which is quite unfortunate, because it looks like he wouldn't even have to try. His fringe could grab the ledge. His teeth could grab the ledge, and he's just like, nah. And I don't have any move that gives me upward momentum, so unless I can maybe lock onto one of the enemies and then do a move to... Interesting. Can we do that? Can we do like a move and zoom towards him? Like sliding dash towards that enemy and get up? That'd be great. Will it let me do it in the air? Oh, there you go! Look at that! That's pretty cool. You know, it's not the hardest thing to figure out, but it works. You can use it to your own advantage, but... there it was. Cool stuff. As I was saying though, folks, covering Resident Evil 7 is the smart, lucrative choice. But I'm one of those weird people who I do things I believe in, you know? And it's a flaw of mine. It straight up is a flaw of mine. But it's true. I can't help it, and I can't help the way that I feel. So I've just no interest in going near that game, and I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to do other things that will get like 300 views instead. And that's fine. Because it's what I want to do, and it's my own choosing, you know? It's not like I didn't choose it. It's just not very smart of me is all. For somebody who, you know, understands in a lot of ways how this YouTube place works. It's not the smartest choice, but it's the choice I've made. And I'm under no illusion too that I might get into Resident Evil 7 in a year or two, or a month from now, and think it's the best game ever and be super supportive, and curse myself for not playing it when it came out. But that's just the joy of life, isn't it? It's the joy of a reappraisal of something. And I'm sure that'll be a fun time if it happens. I just don't see it happening too soon. But when it comes to Yakuza 0 and Kingdom Hearts, the stuff I do for those will be interesting, because I don't know if there'll be walkthroughs per se, but there'll definitely be videos on it. I know that there is... the Kingdom Hearts one, doesn't it have a really pretty version of that level that's at the end of this, where you play as Terra and you go into that dark place and you fight those bosses and stuff, and you're looking for Ventus, and you're looking for Terra and everything. I think it's just like an upgraded version of that, and apparently it's about 3 hours long, so that will get covered definitely in some kind of walkthrough format. Maybe I'll do like critical level 1 if you can, something like that. As long as it's fun. If it's not fun, can fuck itself. And then I'm going to be covering the Dream Drop Distance, but it'll probably be maybe a review, maybe some boss videos. It might be a walkthrough if it's really, really tricky, but it'll probably be a playthrough on Twitch, which is something I should really talk about, because not a lot of people know how I'm doing certain things this year. So if you're watching this video, which I hope you are, I've just recently played through Darksiders on my Twitch channel from start to finish, and there was all kinds of stuff that happened. We had a ton of fails, we had a ton of fun moments, we had some interesting mechanics discussions. There was a bunch of ridiculous topics that got brought up about gender and homosexuality and God and politics, and you name it, we talked about it. Some for better, some for worse. And that's kind of how my streams are. They're kind of, you know, ridiculous and no limits in a lot of ways. As I'm showing you right now a little, you could call it an exploit, I'm just calling it platforming, that enables me to get a really powerful spell very early on, which is going to help us succeed. And all you need to do is exactly what I'm doing right now. You can do some fancy jumping if you want to, you can use a different move if you want to, but that move seemed to do it really well, so I would recommend you do it that way. And there you go, you get a really good move you're not meant to get yet until you've got like a higher jump. So put this bad boy on, start leveling it up, and it's going to pay dividends. And I should take some of this stuff off because I'm not listening to my own rules. There you go, Chris, good lad. And then carry on with the game. And a lot of people who were there seemed to enjoy it for the most. We had some fun, and it's going to enable me to do things like clips, highlights from the stream that I can bring over to YouTube, and I can add the chipmunk voice and make them a little bit more entertaining and helpful for people when it comes to, you know, just having a little snippet of a time rather than having to watch a giant 5-hour stream. And it affords me a luxury of being able to do that, but it also gives kind of like an exclusivity to Twitch to prioritize people looking over there and stopping by it once so often, which I think is a good incentive, because when you have something that you can only see at one place, you've got to go to that one place to see it. And if you're one of those people that really likes what I do and you want to see this kind of stuff, then you'll do it, because it's one of those things that you don't think about, and that could be awesome. So there will be playthroughs blind of both Birth by Sleep and Yakuza 0 over on my Twitch channel. But Twitch is also one of those areas where I don't know what it's going to contain, because we talk about anything and everything that happens at that moment, and some of the topics are a little fucking crazy sometimes. And I'm one of those people that I'm not a big fan of censoring people, even though there have been several times when I'd wish the chat would talk about something else, because people are getting a little bit upset and what have you. But I'm one of those people that I respect that that's what they want to say. At the same time, it'd be super cool if we would move on, if you get me. Because let's face it, guys, you don't want to go to a stream, do you, to get annoyed and pissed off and upset and what have you. You go to have fun and be silly, and I hope for the most people take it as that, but you know, sometimes there'll be people getting pissed off. So I need to come up with like a seraphic phrase for when we should be like, let's move on, boys. This is getting a bit too real right now. This is Patrick Swayze. You know, we need some kind of ridiculous phrase for it, because sometimes it's, you know, it's a little bit volatile. You are treading on thin ice, but it's always fun. You know, I'm always having fun, even if I don't agree with some of the opinions and everything, because it's one of those places where discourse is welcome. You go there and we disagree with each other and we swear at each other and what have you. It's generally all in the name of fun, and it's all pretty good. God, I love how this game looks. It's got such a pretty aesthetic. It's really cartoony, but also nice graphically. And then all these moves are coming out with all the, you know, just that quintessential square treatment of beautiful effects and really fancy particles. And it's all animated really well, and it just looks great. It's such a pretty, fun game to watch. Then you got the music. Like, you can't be angry, can you, playing Kingdom Hearts? It just doesn't work. The music's too cheerful, everything's too colourful. It's just a really pleasant game. This is a tough fight, by the way, because whenever you have the big fellas, if any of those dudes do a synchronous butt slam and you get touched by it, really dangerous place to be. Real dangerous stuff, guys. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to be covering them in some format, but for the most it'll be playthrough on Twitch and then some kind of topic video on YouTube. Like one of the ones that I'm making at the moment is 3 things that Darksiders did well. Because I've almost completely forgot a lot of the things that game did, minus other things, and I've misremembered some things as well, so it's nice to go back. And it wasn't my intention to make it, you know, numbered things that X, you know, those typical clickbaity videos. It was just going to be things that Darksiders did well, and then in the end, there was only 3 ones I wanted to point out, so that's what it became. And then I'm probably make 3 things that, you know, it didn't do so well. And I was really surprised about what those dialogues would contain, because I never expected to be complimenting it on its block. Did you think I'd compliment its block? I didn't, because I don't remember really thinking the block was all that good when I first played it. But now, I love it. It's one of my favourite blocks in a game, because it's so powerful. And then they didn't bring it back in the second game, which is heartbreaking to say the least. It would have made the second game infinitely better, in my opinion. And it's a shame, isn't it, that the second game focused on dodges rather than the ability to do that incredibly cancelable block. And I love that block so much. But it can lead to all kinds of different videos, and it also gives me a freedom to pick and choose the videos, because before, it would have just been a walkthrough. Whether it needed to be or not, whether you would use it or not. Oh, by the way, guys, I've intentionally left all of these moments in, because in the last 2 walkthroughs I made, people wanted to know what I was doing. I had several comments questioning what I had on equipped, what I bought, and what I was combining. So I've left a lot of those screens in. Some people don't like those kind of screens. I don't really mind them as long as they add to the video rather than taking away. So hopefully that will educate some people who are curious as to how I'm managing my character behind the scenes. But now that I don't have that impetus to simply make a walkthrough for it, you know, I can think of other avenues that are more creative and more interesting, and less intensive and less viewer intensive, because let's face it, guys, who in their right mind these days has enough time to sit down and watch a 10-hour walkthrough, a 6-hour walkthrough? It's difficult to do, isn't it? It's difficult to justify. The world moves so fast, people's attention spans are only so big. It's a difficult ask of people, even though I'm one of those people who chucks on all kinds of YouTube nonsense in the background while I'm doing things. So I'm probably the only demographic left that still does things like that. Me and a lot of my fans, I should say. So the shorter and the more consumable it can be as far as you know, commitment to it, the better, I feel. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a short video, but one video over 50 videos is definitely more desirable in a lot of ways. it's one of the things that's hurting our good buddy Darkside Phil, because he still treats his YouTube like it's 2006, so everything about the way that he uploads is now outdated to the algorithms, and it's not the way that the YouTube works best, and he's shooting himself in the foot because that was a method that enabled him to get, you know, rather lucrative and lots of money early on, but it doesn't work the same anymore, so it's perhaps not the best strategy, and he fails to evolve because he refuses to out of ego and spite. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing if you're wanting to, you know, make things work. But it's just how he rocks, and you've just got to accept it because you'll get banned and called a simpleton if you question it. But it is easier to look at like one video than it is to look at 50 videos. That's just a fact. It's a psychological fact, isn't it? Because when you click on it, you're like, oh, I'll just do this one video. You didn't see that that one video was 40 minutes long, but you looked at it as one more video and then I'll go to bed. And it's just one of those things. It's so much easier to consume it in that measurement, which I find really interesting, because I'm a fan of videos long and short. I like to have a nice varied approach to the stuff that I watch, and I would never not watch something just because it's shorter or just because it's longer. There are times when you don't have time for the longer ones, where you're like, oh, this will be cool, and at 2.5 hours, like, ooh, yeah, I can't quite put aside that much time, but I'll watch half of it now and half of it later. You know, but then you need to realise that if you're like that, you're probably one of the top 10% of the hardcore viewers on YouTube, because not many people are that way at all. Some people just want to watch cats play the keyboard, and so they should, because that shit's entertaining, man. Or they want to watch people open Kinder eggs, which is one of those weird ones. Ooh, we got a new weapon, did I forget about it? Oh, it's a magic-driven weapon. Not a bad idea, though, because we're going to be using a lot of magic in this game, especially now that we've got Fission Firaga, so dropping that on for the Fission spell could be a good idea, Chris, but you're not going to do it because you're melee-focused and you're a brute. But anyhow, so there's double blizzards. Does that make it a Blizzaga? We're going to drop a pulsing crystal on it. It's going to give us, oh, a Blizzara, sorry. Blizzara with Leaf Bracer. So something worth noting about my plays of this game, I don't use Leaf Bracer if I can help it. And everybody gasps. Everyone's like, oh my god, how dare you. Enough with the blasphemy. Leaf Bracer, for the uninformed, is a move that enables you to, I think it's be completely uninterruptible when you're casting Cure. Because getting interrupted while you're trying to heal is one of the most frustrating things on the planet, so this game removed that. But I don't heal on this game. If you see me using Cure, it means that that fight is real fucking serious, and there's a part of it that I do not enjoy, because I don't heal in these games often. It's just not how I play. I've got nothing against you doing it. Everybody plays how they want to play, but for me, instead of healing, you can play better. That's kind of my the way I approach every game. You know, instead of having more life, you make the life that you have work for you. Those are kind of the tenets that I take forward in trying to improve as a player. But that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching and indulging in the tangents. You take care now.